Hi everyone. I'm going to do a video today about some of the basics of jelly printing. I am in no way an expert. I haven't had a jelly plate for that long myself, but I wanted to share just some of the things that I've learned as I've been jelly printing, just for people that have not used a jelly plate before or who aren't even familiar with what a jelly plate is. So I just wanted to do just some basics and maybe help out some people that are just getting started and just show you some of the things that I do. And if that helps you, great. And if not, there's plenty of other videos out there regarding how to use a jelly plate. So the first thing is a jelly plate is it's a piece of gelatin like this. It's very soft and pliable, and the jelly brand plate is put out by a company called Jelly Arts. Let me show you the package here. Okay, Jelly Arts gel printing plate, and you can buy one that's already made like this, or you can go look online. There are a lot of videos out there where people make jelly plates at home. And the way I understand it, I've never done one of those, but the way I understand it is those jelly plates are not permanent and they need to be kept in the refrigerator. They will last a long time, but they're not like this one is a permanent one. It can stay out of the refrigerator. It stores on your shelf in the packaging that it came in. And it's very handy that way. But you can make your own if that's, the kind of thing that you're interested in doing. They are generally clear when you first purchase them. Mine is stained from lots of use. and that's okay. It still works perfectly fine. There's some print on it from magazines and book text and stuff like that has come off on it, and paint is on it, but it still works perfectly fine. They sell these in lots of different shapes, sizes, and the idea behind a jelly print, you'll hear that term a lot, jelly print, is that you've made a print on a jelly plate, and it's a monoprint. You just put acrylic paint on the plate, and I'm going to demonstrate. You put paint on the plate, you roll it out with a brayer like this and spread it all out all over the plate. And then you lay a piece of paper or cardstock or any kind of paper you want to use. You lay it across there and press it down very good with your hands, and you pull a print. And that print that you pull off the plate is generally referred to as a jelly print. You can make lots of layers on each one, or you can pull just one print and keep it and use it just as it is. So there's lots of things you can do, and there's lots of things you can use along with your jelly plate. You can use stencils to make designs and patterns, like this, okay? Mine are covered in paint, that's why they look colorful. But you can use stencils. You can use household items. This is from a bag of, I don't know, oranges or onions or something like that from the grocery store. And typically what I'll do is save it and cut the bottom off, and then just cut it up the side and open it up, and it makes a big, nice piece like this with this design on it. And you can see this one's got paint on it from where I've used it in the past. But it makes a really cool net kind of design, fishnet type thing, okay? You can use texture plates. These little foam sheets are sold in the craft stores. Usually in the kids section you can find these. And they have all different textures on them, and you can use these on your jelly plate. You can kind of like stamping a design into the paint. And then not only can you stamp the design into the plate to make your print, but when you pick it up, you've got paint on the texture plate. So you can stamp that off onto something else, another paper, another jelly print, whatever, and you'll be able to use the paint up that's on the texture plate as well. And that goes for anything you use as a stamp. You can stamp it off onto something else. I find that one of the best things to use is foam stamps. They seem to work the best. Like, here's one that's got a bunch of circles on it. Here's one with a swirl. Here's one with a little flower. I mean, there's just gobs and gobs of different foam stamps and things you can get out there. You know, you've seen some of these that I've used and some that I haven't. But all of these different foam stamps work really great on a jelly plate. And let's see, what else do we have? Let's see, here's another household item you can use. This is the inside of a roll of Scotch tape, just regular old plain transparent tape. When you've run out of the tape, just take this little piece out of the dispenser that it's on, and you can use this to make design on in the paint on your jelly plate. And like I said before, whatever you stamp into the plate, stamp off onto a piece of paper, and you'll be able to use the paint that's on here. And not only that, but if you just stamp, the one that shows up the best is the first one that you did, because there was no paint on here. So if you stamp on the plate and then stamp off a couple times, stamp again and stamp off, and do like that, you're going to have that clear impression left, that clear design left, so that it shows up well all over wherever you've stamped it. But if you just do this and this, you're moving paint from here to here, where this one actually picked up paint off the plate. But if you immediately put it back down again, you're putting that paint back onto the plate and you won't pick up as much. And the idea is to lift it off so that you have a design there, so that when you put your paper down, you get to print a cool print with a cool design on it. Another thing you can use is these little toe separators that you use in a pedicure. And you can take that in your paint, and I'll show you these things too, but you can swirl them into your paint and make a design. This is a catalyst tool that's sold for that purpose. It has a design on the end, and you drag it through your paint. You can even use these little foam wedges, makeup sponges, and this is a little rectangle shape, almost a square, but not quite. And you can lift the paint off the plate like that, stamp it off, lift the paint off, stamp it, and you can make a cool design with these. Just to give you some inexpensive ideas of things that you can use from around the house. This is a piece of tissue paper. I found a couple of these behind my couch in, I guess it was probably April, maybe March or April. And I realized it was from Christmas, and my son-in-law and my grandkids were taking the gift wrap from Christmas and wadding it up and throwing it at each other. And so I found a couple behind one of my couches. But you can take a wadded up piece of even just plain paper, but since I had these wads of tissue paper, I decided I would use them. But you can take that and put paint on the plate and just lift up a cool design from just a crinkled up piece of paper, you know, and then stamp it off like I said before. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And and you can use bubble wrap. There's just a ton of things you can use for texture on a jelly plate. So I'm going to get started, and this first time I'm going to use some green. And let's see if I might put another shade in there with it. You don't have to use more than one color, but it's fun too sometimes, because you can get a little mixture of lights and darks, or just, you know, different shades. And oops, that was a lot. Let's see if we can move some of that over. Okay. That ought to be good. And then you're just going to take your brayer and roll it out. For those of you who saw my Love Summer Art video about the watermelon I made, this is how I made the green, and it's the way I made the red too. I just did 2 shades of red, a light and a dark. It's when I made my watermelon. All right, and then I take my brayer and I roll it off on a piece of paper. In this case, I'm using my composition book of unwasted paint. And just when you hear me say I was cleaning off my brayer or rolling off my brayer, that's what I'm doing. I'm just rolling it off to clean the paint off of the brayer. Okay, so I think first I'm going to take some bubble wrap. I've got some here with the big dots on it. I'm going to put it on and just kind of press it in just to get this cool wrinkled design from there. And then I'm going to pull that off. See how cool that looks? Love that. Okay, and I'm going to print it. I think I'm going to do that on this sheet of labels here. I've got a label sheet. Get started. And then you just press it in. Some people roll it off with a brayer. I just don't bother with that. It's just too much. It doesn't help, and for me it doesn't. It's just fine to use your hands for me. Okay, see that? Now that's cool, and all that is paint and a piece of bubble wrap. That's cool. So now I'm going to lay this aside to dry, and I may come back and do it again, and you do something different on top of that to layer the design and layer the textures. Now, if I was prepared over here, which what I wasn't, I could have turned this over on top of a sheet of paper also. Now it's pretty dry. It's not going to transfer very well. I'll show you what I mean. But if you're quick enough and you have some paper and things handy, you can turn it over on top of a sheet of paper. You can do this with your stencils too, but only if you're quick because it's a very thin layer. I got a little bit. So that's what that looks like. All right. And you don't have to clean the plate off each time. In fact, it's kind of good if you don't, because there's a little bit of color left on there that will end up making the next print look really cool. I want to show you this too. I picked this up at the grocery store the other day. It's just a little cheap plastic bowl. It was like $1.39. And it has a really cool texture on the bottom. And the only part that will probably work is the flat piece right here in this circle, but I thought it would probably look really cool. So I'm going to be using that today and see what that looks like, because it will be the first time I've done it. So let's go with this lighter purple. And there's no real set amount of how much paint to use when you're jelly printing. You just kind of get a feel for what's going to work for you. You'll know if you use too much and you're rolling it out and it's rolling off the sides. You'll know. And then you'll cut back a little, the next time. But it's just one of those you figure it out as you go sort of things. I guess I'll put a couple of drops of the darker in here. Not a lot, but just some. Just to give it a little contrast in there. And this is a pretty thin layer, so you have to notice if it's really thin, you've got to work quickly to get your paper down or your stencil down and, get your print pretty quickly. So let's see. I think I'll use this tissue paper this time. Let's see what we can get. I'm going to stamp it off onto this. this is just cool just to be a, you know, sheet of paper. It's wadded up. So you can't really go wrong there. And it's cool to come off the edges a little bit too. Sometimes it just gives it a nice look. You know, when you're done, you've got a piece of tissue paper that's got all painty, because you can keep turning this over and doing different colors all around. So that'll be awesome. And then I'm going to take the little paint thing from the inside of the paint. And use it in a few areas. Let's see. All right. Time to get the print. I'm going to do this on a piece of graph paper. It's got the squares on it. There you go. All right, so that's going to dry over there. And I'm probably going to put this in fast forward just a little bit to make sure that my videos don't go on for too long, because I don't want them to stretch out for forever. And I may do this video, I don't know if I said that before, I may do it in parts, just to keep it from being like an hour and a half long. So All right, so I'm going to close this part out, and I'll come back with another part, at least one more section, just making some more prints and showing you, what I do and what I've learned. So thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.